Good morning, dear hearts. All right, we are at lesson 13. A meaningless world engenders fear. Now, this has been a continuation of lessons that started back with lesson 4 when we were told this was going to be a major theme and it was going to reappear. Well, it has now for the past several days. Lesson 4, just to remind you, was these thoughts, and I always say my thoughts, do not mean anything, okay? And they're like the things I see in the street, on the window, etc. Then we had a reiteration of that with lesson 10, that my thoughts, now we have my thoughts, do not mean anything. Lesson 11 was my meaningless thoughts are showing me a meaningless world. Yesterday was I am upset because I see a meaningless world. And now they've brought it together with the idea that a meaningless world engenders fear. The idea of something having no meaning is fearful to our ego mind, and it must immediately assign a meaning to everything, whether or not it is a true meaning. Now, this lesson tells us that in truth, a meaningless world is impossible because everything does have a meaning, and it's either its true meaning or the one that we have assigned to it. But the idea of a meaningless world, it becomes frightening to, as the Course would identify us as the separated ones. And it is in that here is our clue, that our belief in being separate from our source, from our Creator, from who and what we really are, is a fearful idea. And it gives rise, that belief in separation, that belief that we are apart from everything, gives rise to being fearful. Now let's look at that word, fearful, filled with fear. That's how we will react in a world without meaning. It will be fearful and we will be filled with fear. When we are filled with fear, when we are fearful, we will project outward everything that comes to the mind that is disconcerting. It's what we do as a way to protect ourselves. So I'm projecting my fear thoughts outward, and they go on to the world. They have to go someplace. They go on to the world, and now the world becomes a fearful place. And it has no meaning for me, and I am cowering in fear. This lesson is going to tell us that it's essential, therefore, that you learn to recognize the meaningless and now accept it without fear. If you are fearful, it is certain that you will endow the world with attributes that it does not possess and crowd it with images that do not exist. And we will unpack that tomorrow with, spoiler alert, my second favorite lesson of the workbook. So with the exercises today, that we are to look around and realize that, I'm looking at a meaningless world and I won't be afraid of it. It also, the very last line in italics says that a meaningless world engenders fear because I think I'm in competition with God. But right after it tells us that, it says, don't worry about that right now, okay? Don't give any real thought and consideration to that, of seeing God as the enemy, or that we will be in competition with God and now there's going to be some sort of retribution against us. All of this will come clear to us. So rather than waking up as a separated one and wonder, what will I be afraid of today? Let us wake up instead and say, I know that I am loved, and I know that I am a child of God. And all of that will become much clearer as the year progresses, okay? I'm grateful that you are here. I'm grateful that you are studying this course. Please like, please share, please subscribe, and comment, and please be here tomorrow for my second favorite lesson of the year so far. Namaste.